What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. Thanks for tuning into my channel. My name is Simon Hill, Black American from Louisiana, and I'm here with my beautiful, sexy wife. Say hi, boo.
Hi everyone, this is Akti and I'm from Turkey. And today we are reviewing The Long Walk.
Yes, this is the 2025 thriller, sci-fi, anti-fascist, anti-war,
Dystopian.
dystopian action thriller, I would say.
Yeah.
Is that the right genre? Anyway, it's based on a Stephen King novel, and I heard that it was actually one of his first novels he started to work on while in college, but it got published later under a pseudonym. But then when it was revealed it was Stephen King, it became quite popular. And yeah, Stephen King has just been just on a tear. He's very inspirational when it comes to his work, like just
Yeah.
his work ethic. You know what I'm saying?
And I heard that he wrote this book to impress a girl.
Oh, really? I don't know how this would impress a girl by talking about toxic masculinity, but maybe he was trying to be like a performative male.
Yeah, like impressive, you know, anti-sexist rhetoric.
Yeah, because this is basically a sausage fest. There's like only one woman in the film, and it's basically a bunch of guys and an older man talking about a big swinging sack. It was actually a pretty good film. We watched it a few weeks ago. I rewatched it today. Um, it's more fun on the first watch. I could tell this film was made like on a shoestring budget, but they still use very little to create a very good story and bring it to life. But what did you think about the story?
Yeah, I mean, dystopians are one of my favorite genres. I loved Hunger Games. I was a teenager then, and it was like so impressive for me. And it was like the first time, almost not the first time, but on screen, I was introduced to dystopian genre. And yeah, I also enjoyed this one as well. And I think it's also made by the same director that did The Hunger Games.
Yeah, Francis Lawrence is the man who made the original Hunger Games, and that series, or I don't know, just the Hunger Games. I never really got into it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
got forced into seeing like one or two movies, but I can get why people like it. But
Yeah.
I also am not like big on dystopian films, I guess. Like I love a good zombie movie. I like alien invasion movies. But just like the world being shitty, it just feels too close to home because the world is shitty.
Well, that's the beauty of it because it's mostly like the world is shitty, but there's always a hero, that
Hmm.
comes up and changes everything, like that one underdog.
Yeah.
And this is also what happens in the movie. So I like this movie, and
Hmm.
I think the plot is interesting. Like, who would think to have this, race to walk as long as you can?
Right.
So that was interesting, and all the acting was really good,
Hmm.
I think. And yeah, I think like also the camaraderie was touching. So
Yeah.
it had like that warm feeling to it as well.
When I watched this the second time, you just brought up this point, like, oh, who would think of this idea of walking long miles for the military or for whatever journey? But I was watching it and I was thinking about, in China in their civil war, there was the communist Mao Zedong. He led his people on a long march to, basically evade the nationalists who they were fighting against. And I also was thinking about in ancient history, Hannibal, from what we now call Tunisia. He was the great African general who marched on Rome after taking like 10,000, no, 100,000 men and like 20,000 elephants and marching from Tunisia all the way through Spain and southern France and marching all the way to Rome. Like I was thinking about those stories too, and
Mm.
like how sometimes it can be heroic, like how people do these long walks for like whatever great cause, right? But those long walks also ended up with like elephant bones being found in the mountains of the Alps, you know what I mean? And people's bodies just left to rot on the side of the road, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And when I first heard the long walk, my immediate association was Gandhi,
Mm,
but
mm.
this long walk is actually horrible.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that was like one ironic thought that came into my
right.
mind when I just first saw the whole like title on the screen.
Right. But there's definitely like negative metaphors that can be made for this example of the long walk, which I'm sure we'll get into. So let's first talk about the acting, though, because like what makes this movie work and what could have been the death of this film is bad acting, because the majority of it is dialogue and conversations. And I think almost everybody who did act in this film is like top notch, you know what I mean? And more salute to most of them being young actors. I would say Gen Z. And we've been talking sometimes about Gen Z actors and Gen Z films and how some of them have been hit and miss. But this is like top notch Gen Z film, I would say, up there with Lost Souls, my favorite Gen Z movie.
Well, I wouldn't consider this a Gen Z movie just because it's not directed or written by a Gen Z person, you know.
But it's acted out by very young actors. We only have one maybe like legacy actor, Mark Hamill, who famously played Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. He's the main antagonist, the main villain, the major, right? But everybody else, I think, is younger than me and possibly your age.
Yeah.
So shout out to everybody who acted in this thing. But there's really only like 4 main actors. There's a bunch of people, but for me, the film felt like it was centered on 3 or 4 people. But what did you think?
I actually thought the film like had a good technique to show all the characters and their complexities. And if you also consider this film to be like a metaphor for life, right? And in life, you also like come across all these different types of people, and it was like that, you know. I kind of thought like all characters were important. Obviously, for me, like the 2 major characters are Ray and Pete, like Garrity and McReeves. But all the other minor ones are also important, in my opinion.
For me, the film centered on Ray, number 47, played by Cooper Hoffman, who's ostensibly the main character. Then we have number 23, Pete McVries, played by David Johnson, who we saw in the Alien Romulus film, and I really liked him there. And it was good to see he had range, because in Alien Romulus, he had to play an android with cold affect. But here he played a very emotionally layered character. So it was those 2 people. Then I would say also Hank Olsen, played by Ben Wang, number 47, the little Asian kid with the thick New York accent. He was good comic relief. And then I would also say the main character would be either between Stebbins, number 38, or Art Baker, number 6, who was played by Tut Nyot. And honestly, I think Tut Nyot's character is actually like the most moving for me. Like, you know, he's the one that I feel like he should have been in McVries' role, and if you know what I mean, because he's religious, he can be funny, he can be deep, you know what I'm saying, and plus his character is from Louisiana, so I'm gonna rep that too.
But we have to give a shout out. He's a Sudanese British actor.
They're taking our jobs.
So he did a great job of making us believe that he was from Baton Rouge.
You know what? When we started watching this film, and like the 2 main characters, well, 2 of the main guys in the front that we focus on all the time are Black men, I was actually like, oh, that's very cool, because they usually have diversity in these casts, but it's usually like 1 Black guy. You know what I'm saying? But I was happy that in this film, like out of the 3 guys you see most on screen, 2 of them are Black men, and then you have 1, you know, main white guy character, you know? I thought that was cool. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, even though this is a dystopian era, it is post-racial in a way. I mean, maybe there are some hints here and there about, you know, the Black characters' lives before the walk. You can pick it up from there, but the way they at least communicate with each other and everything, there isn't like a racial thing that's happening.
I would just say, like in filmmaking, like in Hollywood, right? Like they throw in a token Black character, but they never have a white guy just surrounded by Black people. You know what I'm saying? That's not usually how they do this thing. So that's what I was thinking about. But the guy who played Ray was very good as well. So no, not taking away from Cooper Hoffman's character, but let's get into the story here. So essentially, the film opens up with this letter that essentially says, congratulations, you voluntarily submitted and successfully entered the long walk through a lottery system. Everybody in the nation will be watching you on live broadcast. And if you win, you're going to get untold amounts of money and one single wish. You can wish for whatever you want. And the letter also hints that the country, whatever country this is, and we assume it's America. Yeah, it gives hints that it's America. Basically, the country is going through financial struggles, like a great recession or depression or something like that. And yeah, that's it. So we also learned the main character's name is Garrity. We see him here.
I'm sorry, I have to make a joke.
Go ahead.
This is like all the spam emails I get.
This looks like a Nigerian prince email.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I know you were waiting on that one. That's good. I wasn't even thinking about that. That's a good one. But yeah, we see Garrity here and his mom is just driving him off to this place. She's kind of hesitant about it, but she's taking him anyway. And yeah, we also find out that Garrity's father is not in the picture, and we don't know if he's dead or if he's abandoned the family, but we find out later what happened. And when she actually, you know, drops him off at the car, she's like worried about him. Like, did you pack the right shoes? Do you have food? Do you have water? He's like, I got it all, Mom. I'll be okay. I'll see you in a few days. And so she, you know, instantly starts breaking down. It's like, please don't go. And like hugs her baby. She starts crying. And I forgot her name. Do we have her listed in the cast of people? What's her name?
Judy Greer.
Judy Greer absolutely kills it in her few scenes, right? Like it's very emotional. It comes across as very real. And shout out to her. And her character's name is Jenny. So what did you think about those opening scenes right there?
Yeah, definitely very emotional, and it just went straight into the thing, you know, no walking around it. And it also, I think, created a mystery about like Raymond's history. And I was thinking about that as the movie moves forward. But I definitely agree that she killed like this two scenes that she had. Yeah, she killed them both.
Yeah, she did. I want to say that this scene here, and what I think is the beautiful thing about this movie is that it's so universal. Like, you know, in almost every country you have a military, and sons join the military, and mamas cry as their boys get on that plane or that boat or that truck to the front line or to training camp or to go abroad, whatever, right? And, you know, you have to think about how many times has this scene played out in different ways, and that mother never hugs her son again, you know?
Damn. Son.
Yeah. No, I'm just keeping it real. Like this.
But that's deep and that's real.
Yeah, it's very real. So moving forward, you know, this is where we first meet Ray McReeves. And, you know, Ray is like coming across like kind of macho and like alpha. And Ray Ray is coming across like kind of beta too. Because like McReeves pulls up and he's like got the muscles like popping and stuff like that. And also kind of cocky too.
Look at Garrity's face. He's like, you know, they say heavier guys get tired quicker, and Ray is like just scared.
But the funny thing is, like Ray says he weighs like 178 pounds, and McReeves like, I'm 177. You know, fat guys move quicker. I was like, dude. But it was like, yeah, it was funny. And, you know, they get thrown off. Like Ray is like just dumped headfirst into like this boys' world where all these young guys are all preparing for this. And we get to meet some of the other people, like the Asian character here, Hank Olsen. I forgot his number, but he's like a wisecracker, and he's got like this thick New York accent. And the way they talk to Ray, they say, oh, Ray, you're from the home state, which gives the impression that all these other kids are coming in from other states too, to compete here. So I feel like they also had like a bit of envy towards him, like he has home state advantage or something like that.
Yeah, I guess like he's in familiar territory. Maybe that could be the advantage, but I don't really see an advantage really in this situation.
Right. But what I also liked about this scene, going back to the universalness of this, right? Like I think in many countries of the world, you get boys that come all to basic training camp, and you get to meet people from different parts of the country with different accents, different phrasing, different backgrounds, right? And like in this scene right here, Hank is making fun of some kid says, Meemaw. My Meemaw told me that. Greg also says, the fuck is a Meemaw? So yeah, I just really liked that part, right? So
yeah, and again, like going to what you said, that these sort of things actually happen in our world. Like I'm thinking in Turkey, where army is a mandatory service, right? And all of these like college age kids end up being stuck together, making these type of jokes, developing that camaraderie, and yeah, it's also just when you said that, it reminded me of that as well.
Yeah, but this is when we get introduced to the major, and the major, the way they position him in the film, he's either a major figure in the army or like the leader of the entire country or military, right? They don't really give a lot of background on that. But he comes and gives the speech to these boys, and he starts talking about their nut sacks. All of you got the biggest swinging, throbbiest, fattest nut sacks in the country, and we will see you bring glory to our nation, because our nation has an epidemic of laziness, and you will walk until there's only one of you left. Fuck all the rules. You know the rules. And we will be number one again, talking about the nation. By doing this long walk, you boys will inspire the nation to be number one again. And he then, when he shoots his gun in the air and the boys start walking, he then says, anybody can win. And I just thought this scene was so cool. I did not notice that was Mark Hamill, legendary Luke Skywalker, until I saw the credits. But yeah, what did you think of the Major's introduction?
Yeah, I think this scene packs a lot. First of all, like just the associations I had in my mind was like this epidemic of laziness. Immediately I thought obesity in America. And also with anyone can win. You know, it's directly, I feel like it's capitalistic. In capitalism, anyone can be rich if you work hard enough.
If you work hard.
Yeah. So it definitely had like those elements of the symbolism of what this long walk is supposed to symbolize.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every line of what he says, you can break down to something you've heard in your own life. Yeah. These young kids today are so lazy. Or, you know, we don't need socialism in our country. Kids just need to work harder. People need to work harder, right? And this idea that we will be number one again, like one of the most dangerous things that they teach us in America, and I think some countries have some version of this, is that we are exceptional and we are great, and we need to maintain this status or get back to that status. And I think that's the root of fascism, which is why I say America is like a fascist country, because we're either obsessed with our past and want to reclaim it, or we're obsessed with being number one and paranoid of falling off, which then leads to us doing wicked things across the planet. Like, I don't know, bombing boats off the coast of Venezuela or invading countries thousands of kilometers away. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of the speech from Major. So, and yeah, anyone can win. May the odds be
in your favor.
There we go. So there is, as the boys start walking, we get hints of the world around them. And we see that there are a lot of abandoned cars, and the cars look like they're from the 60s or the 50s, which gives some place and time for this film. We also don't see or hear people mention like smartphones or the internet or anything like that. So I get the impression that maybe this is an alternate universe where America lost World War II. Maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about the time?
I mean, with the cars, now that you mentioned, it wouldn't make sense if this was like in the dystopian future, because why would you go back to making those cars? So it definitely feels like an alternate future. And also, like, if we think about when this was written, it was like the 70s, right?
I think he wrote it, 60s, 70s, something 60s, like that.
70s. So I think probably an alternative timeline makes sense.
Plus, this is definitely not the present or the future, because ain't nobody wearing no Nikes. Ain't nobody wearing no Reeboks. Like, we could do this long walk for days, my guy, if we got them SBs on, you know what I'm saying?
Hank was wearing Converse, I think.
He was wearing some Converse? I missed that.
I'm not sure. I feel like I remember that.
I feel like that slipped past production.
That's the wrong shoe to wear, though.
Yeah, that is definitely the wrong shoe to wear. Yeah. Like, when we were watching, I think after we watched this, we were looking at our shoes like, what could we wear to win this thing? And I immediately went to my dad's. I got some old dad shoe Reeboks. I think, and they got the gum sole bottoms. I'm pretty sure I could beat all y'all boys, for real. I'm old as hell, but I'm still marching.
Yeah, I feel like you would need boots.
No, I'm not wearing my boots. My boots are terrible to walk in. What would you wear?
I would wear like comfy boots.
Comfy boots? Comfy boots, Uggs? Okay.
Yes. Okay. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't wear Uggs.
No Uggs?
Maybe Timbs.
Yeah. Anyway, so in this scene right here, there's this one kid who's sort of a rebel. I think he's like one of the top side characters. His name is Blagojevich, something like that. He gives a middle finger to the cop, and all the cops, whenever they go anywhere, are saluting the military, which I think is a hint to this country's like sort of vibe, right? It's a police state, militaristic state. Blagojevich at the very beginning gets a rock in his shoe, and one of the rules of the game is that you only get 3 warnings before you get your ticket punched, which means you get your shit pushed in, you get your brains blown out. You know what I'm saying? And he actually runs up to the 3rd warning while he gets a rock out of his shoe, but does it just in time. And then he gives an excuse like, "Oh, I'm getting arrested," which I would be like, "Bitch, you cheated." I would have tricked him.
Wow, right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Boom, one off the board. But yeah, any comments on Blagojevich scene? Because he's like a menace in these streets.
Yes, just one thing, I guess, like, he's kind of like the bully in the movie, right?
Mhm.
But even with that, it's very obvious that every one of these kids hates the government or, the military or the people who watch them. Even Brockovich or Barkovich.
Whatever.
Yeah, so that's obvious, but it also like makes you question, why are these kids doing that? And they have more conversations about that later.
I disagree that everybody hates the government in this film. I feel like some kids are just like bought into it, or they're too young to have even thought about it. Like they just see, I think a lot of them just see the money, the prize, the opportunity, and they're just like, it is what it is. Like, I'm just going to try to go for it because life is so shit. I might as well just do the long walk, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we have people like that in our world that hate capitalism and still are in the system and make money from it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't necessarily hate capitalism. They critique it all the time, but still make money from it. But yeah, maybe like that there was a little kid, I think he dies first, but he might be the one who has all the illusion,
Well, getting to that little kid, the boys start to make bonds as they begin the long walk in the first 10 kilometers or 10 miles or so. And we get a lot of interesting conversations between them. And this is sort of like the crux of the film. And we find out that Ray is like, the prize money doesn't matter. Everybody is at the beginning of the race talking about what they're going to do with the money, how they're going to live life. And Ray is one of the few saying like, this shit doesn't even matter. And he starts going off on like a rant, like, listen, bro, when the system backs people into the corner, they think this is the only way out. And actually, McVrees, the homie right here to his left, says, you know what? Nobody really signs up for this. Not really. Everybody sort of signs up for it, and only a few actually pursue it. You know what I'm saying? It was a very interesting conversation. And when they talk about the motivations for people to do this, are people forced into it, or do people have, that this is just a natural process of our world, that people would want to choose this? It's sort of like a free will versus determinism thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also like this illusion of that, I guess it's the same thing, like illusion of thinking you have free will. Like, when I was born into this world, I didn't have really any other chance but to be a worker in a capitalist system, because otherwise, how can I make a living for myself and how can I survive? And it's the same thing. Like the country in this world, in the movie, is in such a bad condition that this is like the only way out. And that's the only way you can have money and, I don't know, provide for your family. So whether to die in poverty, then you can die in this game.
Yeah. And going to what you were saying, like there's people that critique capitalism or a system, but still participate in it. Ray is essentially that guy. You know what I mean? He's like, listen, bro, this job isn't about shit. Wait, man, you need to clock out before you decide to fill out the papers. Like, bro, you were just telling me this job ain't shit, but you telling me how to do the job. You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah, and I do that too. So I'm not going to shame him for it.
Yeah, exactly. But it was interesting, like, once again, seeing these 3 guys be the main stars of the show, Ray, Pete, and Baker right here. And there are 3 different perspectives on this thing. You know what I'm saying? So And Pete doesn't agree with him about the money because Pete says, you know, the money is important at the end of the day. But yeah, essentially, we're all in this rat race together, you
Yeah.
know? Uh, so with this is when we find out more about Baker. You know, he's a religious guy, but he's cool with breaking the rules a little bit. And I just love his personality, man. Like he was so like, you know, just so jovial, man. That's somebody I would
Yeah.
want to walk with. I'd hate to see him die though. After I trip him.
I
I'm
mean,
tripping everybody.
this scene was funny because McReeves takes out the cigarette and lights it and then says, I don't really smoke, but I figured I start now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Art Baker
Yeah.
just jumps in and says, like, I'll have a cigarette.
Yeah. I think, you know, this film is about how men or boys become men. This is a story of boys becoming men, right? And like you said, I don't smoke, but I think I'll start now. I think that was, you know, Pete saying like, I'm in this fucked up situation. This is time for me to become a man. And I've seen men smoke and drink all my life. You know what I mean? No different than you get sent to war somewhere. So fuck it. We're smoking, we're drinking, doing all that stuff.
That's true.
That's what I was thinking about. But moving forward, we also find out that there's this other kid who I think is Stephen King. I think Stephen King wrote himself into the book or the movie.
Oh,
like
okay.
that's how I interpreted it. Because like this nerdy guy comes up to the front, he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna write a book about the long walk. Can I get your name before they punch your ticket?" But actually, I'm like, a little bit of this film feels a bit ridiculous. The idea that only there can be one winner and everybody else will die, and it's like everybody's just being friendly with each other and chatting and talking. I don't know what you think about
what
that.
What else can you do in this situation? Like, what would be the other reasonable solution? Like, I feel like this is the only way that you can get through something like this. And also, like, it's interesting, like, the motives of why these people are here. Like, this guy, he knows he's gonna die, possibly, and he's just like, I'm doing this for the art, for the history, I don't know, for this to be remembered. And he's just there, like, trying to write. Which is crazy. Like, it's a crazy reason to join something like this, knowing that you're gonna die. Exactly. And then you have, like, as far as we know in this movie, like McReeves is kind of like a happy-go-lucky type of guy. He's like, I can take the money and I can give it back to my community and do good things with it.
I guess, like, on a philosophical level, like, it doesn't make sense to get married. It doesn't make sense to have friends. It doesn't make sense to do anything pleasurable if at the end we're all going to die. So this film is like saying, like, essentially, this is what our life is. Like, what is the point of us being here, knowing one day we will have to separate, regardless, no matter what. So, yeah, like, fuck it. Make friends, be happy, laugh while you can, because you are going to die. I guess there's that point to it. And also, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead. You have another thing?
I would just say it's also like a smart strategy to make friends in the beginning, at least.
To help you out.
Yeah, to help you out, to have conversations with. Like, if you're just going to walk without saying a word,
right? Because
it's going to be boring.
Yeah, because we're social creatures. Like, the strongest humans aren't the ones that live the longest. It's the ones that's the most social, right? Yeah. That's a good point. But I was also thinking about, like, and I hate to do the Afro-pessimism, but, like, in Afro-pessimism, the basis of it is like there's no hope for life as a Black person because Black people are already socially dead. And I guess to take the Afro out of it, this is a pessimistic story because all these boys already signed up for a social death. You know what I'm saying? You signed up for this thing and you willingly know you might die doing it. So the people are going to say, well, that was justified. You know what I'm saying? But they're also pairing their social death with the actual death that could happen to them, or most likely will happen to all of them except one, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting situation to put yourself in.
I mean, you can do many takes. Like, I would say, just off of your idea, their social death could be also that they are lower class.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the rich kids aren't signing up for this.
Yeah.
If there are any rich kids in this universe, you know?
Yeah.
But moving forward, right? So this is where we get one of the first tragedies of the long walk. This young kid here who looks like Frankie Muniz. You know who Frankie Muniz is? No. He played Malcolm in the Middle. He played Malcolm in Malcolm in the Middle.
I don't know
That's
Malcolm in the
exactly that's my cringe millennial self coming out. Anyway, Frankie Muniz is like he got a Charlie horse, and I'm like, boy, you are 14. Ain't no reason to have a Charlie horse. You're too young for that.
What is a Charlie
It's
horse?
when your legs cramp up or
Oh,
any part of your body cramps up. But yeah, he's trying to walk, but he can't do it. Ray tries to save him. He ends up falling behind, and he gets his shit rocked. He gets his whole ticket punched, and we see his face just get the cave in. And this happens in like the first 15 minutes of the film. And when I saw a 14-year-old get his brains blown out, I said, "Oh shit, we ready for this? This is gonna be a ride. It's gonna be a long hour and 45 minutes."
yeah. I heard that the book is very intense,
Mm-hmm.
and they said we're going to bring the same intensity to the film.
Mm.
And I think they brought it, like, because I've also like you see like when someone dies in the movie and you see the others have to keep on walking, but the camera shows their faces.
Yeah.
And the deaths get brutal and more brutal as the movie goes on.
I would say it doesn't get more brutal. There's like one other brutal death that we'll talk about very soon, but this one was the worst.
I think emotionally.
Yeah, emotionally.
Because you invest in these characters.
Yeah.
Like in this first one, we don't really know who he is, but we do know he's like younger.
Yeah.
Like he signed up as if he was 18, but he's probably like 15 or something. So
Yeah.
that's like a emotional part.
Yeah.
But like as the movie progresses, we get to know the characters, and every time they die, it's just sad for us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is very sad because, like you said, we invest in the characters, we get emotionally attached.
And fun trivia.
What?
I also learned that this movie was shot in like the sequel that we are shown. Because usually movies are shot like...
Oh, in the sequence,
you know,
it was shown.
Yes, in the sequence it was shown. So every time one of the characters gets shot in the movie, they actually also leave the set as well.
Oh.
So they have to say goodbye to that person in real time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That adds on to the emotional layer.
Yeah.
Yo, I think some people, after they shot this film, probably needed therapy. Because I've heard that some actors, like, they get so deep into a role, they can't get out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is a traumatizing role, I think.
Yeah. So anyway, so after that, the boys just keep on laughing. No, they get sad. They're sad, but they understand that this is a part of the thing. And it was very sad to see little Frankie Muniz killed. But the boys have to keep walking even if they use the bathroom. So like we see here, Pete, he's taking a piss. He pulls out his wiener and guys are like, ugh, gross. You know what I mean? And pissed on everywhere. Ray is sort of like a little celebrity or hometown celebrity because as they're walking through his flyover ass state, which looks like Southern Arkansas, you know what I'm saying? There's like a little girl hanging outside saying, Ray, we love you. And they also have the cameras pointed on these boys the entire time. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to see how the world was looking at this. That's one thing I felt is missing in this film, that they didn't take the opportunity to just give more hints on what society is like. But what did you think of any of those scenes right there?
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with you. You know, like when, for example, in an apocalyptic movie, when the meteor is coming to the earth, they show like those scenes of people watching from the pub in their homes, like different places, and feeling terrified. Yeah. I wish they did the same thing here. Like they showed us like people who are watching in a beer house or something, or in a coffee house, whatever they have in this alternate universe.
A beer house, like bars don't exist no more.
Yeah, because it's the alternative universe. Who's going to bars when they're doing the long walk?
I think a bar is a beer house. No.
I guess. Like in the barber shop.
They're so poor that they turn the houses into bars. So they call it beer house.
I thought like a coffee house. You know?
I feel like
a tea house, a beer house.
Isn't the word for bar here in Hungary like Shorhaz, beer house? I don't know.
Yeah, see?
Okay,
so it makes sense.
Okay. You've been in Hungary too long.
Like, no, because it's like when you say bars or a bar, it feels fancy. And I feel like it just didn't do this movie justice. Like if I say a beer house, it feels more ghetto.
No, it feels the opposite. A beer house sounds fancy. A bar can be anything.
For me, beer house sounds like just, I don't know, like a dive bar.
Do you have two words in Turkish for bar? Like beer house and then bar?
No, we don't.
How did we end up here?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Anyway, they're talking, right? You know, Pete and Ray, they're talking. I think Pete says here, like, if you fall, I won't pick you up, right? Showing like, yeah, we're fun, we're buddies and friends, but you know, I'm in it to win it. You know what I'm saying? And
But then,
yeah, but then they all start to form like little bonds and friendships. You know, they say, hey, we're going to be three musketeers and we're going to be best buddies and stuff like that. And this is when the film is essentially focused on, I would say, these four characters:
yeah,
Hank, Baker, Pete, and Ray, you know, because they're all joking and laughing and just talking about their lives and the rules and the game. So,
yeah.
but this is when Blakovich is being like an asshole to everybody. You know, he's saying like, "Oh, you guys sound really queer. You know, you sound like a bunch of sissies back there talking about let's be friends." And he starts being just an asshole to everybody. And then this one kid in front starts having a seizure, and he gets his ticket punched. So I guess we'll just start from right here. You know, what did you think about any of these scenes?
Yeah, I mean, McReeves is like a little baby. I don't know. Like he's first like, I won't pick you up if you fall, and then he's like, let's be three musketeers.
Yeah, I know, right?
So he's such a like soft-hearted person
Yeah,
in the movie, and I think he really also helps all of the characters in the movie like last as long as they do. He's like the hope, light of hope in the group because like Garrity's kind of skeptical and he's filled with revenge, and the others like it feels like they're just here kind of for the money.
Yeah, or their hopes and dreams, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because of course you get the money, but they also have like that one wish. Like, I think they start talking about one kid wished for an elephant and he got it. Another one said, I wish for 10 naked ladies. And they're just laughing at him like, bro, with the money, you can get 10 naked ladies, you know? So
I like McReeves as like just this shine that he has.
Yeah.
And as for Barkovich, like he's just, I mean, this happens later on, but he's just trying to like get someone in trouble and eliminate them. That's what I thought here.
Yeah, which I think is a strategy, right? And I think this film once again is like, you know, talking about the military in a lot of ways, but it's branching out and talking about society. And I think you showed me a video of this girl who wrote a video essay about Stephen King's book and how he compared it to just life, right, and society. And one strategy to get ahead is like denigrating people, right? Like our president recently got up and said, you know, the Somalis, they're bad people. I don't want them in our country. And guess what? That sort of rhetoric made him the most powerful, richest man in America. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's Blakovich's, you know, strategy, right? Denigrate people, get people off their square, make them be, you know, out of pocket so that you can rise above them, you know?
Yeah, but specifically, I think what they did good with this character is that it's transparent. Like we know as the audience that this guy's bad.
Yeah.
In real life, that doesn't happen.
I would say at the beginning, Blakovich wasn't, it's hard for me because I actually identify a little bit with Blakovich, like middle fingers to the police. Later on, we find out, you know, I never really fit in school and stuff like that. And I was never that much of a punk or an outsider, you know what I mean? But like, there were like the film is sort of like the military. People have said in the military, it's all of society. You know what I mean? You have people that hate the government in the military and people that are diehard patriots. Yeah. And so I saw a little bit of myself in Blakovich.
But all of them hate the government.
I disagree a bit, but they all grow to hate the government, I would say.
Yeah.
But moving forward in the story, right? They're still talking about their hopes and dreams. And this is a part that's kind of interesting too. There's a tiny bit of homoeroticism in this film that makes it not quite a queer film, but there's hints of it as well. Because I have a theory after watching it the second time that Pete is gay. I think Pete is gay because he said while they're walking, I've never been so horny in my life. Looking at you, Ray. I might be even get horny for you, man. And he's joking a bit, but you know, there's another part later when Ray asks Pete, "Do you have a girl?" And he's like, "No, man, I don't have a girl." Like he says it in a way like he's never had a girl. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's one theory I have. but I also think this little scene here is talking about how, when guys are around each other at a certain point, like there's a little bit of homoeroticism that arises. I'm reading right now, and I'm sorry I'm ranting.
No, it's okay.
I'm reading a book, A History of Psychology by Thomas Hardy, and I'm on the section where he's talking about ancient Greece. And ancient Greek society was highly gender segregated. Women literally could not leave the home, and men were outside all day with the boys. And you would have to sneak out to sleep with your wife, and then you have to come back and be with the boys. So, so during that time, you guys, it was considered sort of natural to kiss your homie, sleep with your homie, jerk your homie off. You know what I'm saying? Because that was a part, and this wasn't just Sparta. Sparta was probably the most extreme, but the love between a man, because both of you might die together in war, and you're outside training all the time.
Yeah,
that was a part of it. Homo relations. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, like personally, I always thought that was very natural because as girls, we have those, homoerotic instances as well. But I just thought like guys are just kind of, they oppress this part of themselves because of the society and the society's expectations that they have to present like overly masculine, especially straight guys, right?
Right.
Like, or only straight guys. I guess. So I always thought that was kind of natural. So I didn't really clock anything here. Maybe you felt it more because you're a guy.
I've been a guy in locker room talk, and I think I've told you this, but I don't know if I've ever talked about this on my channel. When I was about 15 or 16, I went away to a military camp for a week, Navy ROTC in Tulapo, Mississippi, right? And it was kind of like the long walk, you know what I mean? Like, not like we were literally like running all day, doing push-ups all day, training with the guns, sitting in class and stuff like that. It was the military, you know what I'm saying? It was actually, the first 2 days sucked, and by the third day, like, you just love it. You know what I'm saying? It's actually kind of cool. But going back to the sexuality thing and like what's considered natural, like I don't believe our sexuality is natural. It's mostly like designed by the society and the paradigms we're in, right? So like what we consider now, oh, it's more natural for a woman to, be maybe bi than a guy to be bi or something like that, or to find women attractive. I think that's mostly because society has said that the lesbian is less threatening to society than the gay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of countries where they are anti-LGBTQ, they have laws against sodomy, against men penetrating another man. They don't even have laws against lesbianism. They don't consider that even, because like that's not threatening, because women are relegated to lower parts of society so they can sort of do whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's also, I agree with you. That like, that to me, like whether it's between two women or two men, has always felt natural. That it should be like that, because at the end of the day, since we're all human, you can be attracted to someone's heart and soul and mind or intellect or aura, whatever you call it, and not want to like explicitly have sex with them, but have that erotic sensation or something, So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. But sorry for going off on this tangent, but this scene was interesting watching it on the second playback, right? Because I do think there was a little bit of crush that Pete had on Ray. I think he was crushing on that.
Or it's just like a very bromance, a big bromance.
Yeah. But so basically they're sharing food too. Like Pete is eating raw deer meat, and Olsen here says, "Oh, that's disgusting." You know what I mean? And Pete also has like some scar on his face. I can see it. This brother's really light skinned, so it's hard to see what's happening on his face. Inside joke. Go watch the previous episodes. But they end up actually sharing food, right, with Olsen after he drops his food and he can't slow down to pick it up. So that shows like there's some caring in this community right here. And this is when Blachowicz starts making fun of some other kid whose name is Rank. And he's like, "Your mama named you Rank? She must have fucked up when she was trying to have an abortion with you. And this kid starts like swinging on Blachowicz, trying to hit him, and he eventually falls down after trying to fight Blachowicz, and he gets killed in front of everybody. You know what I mean? And they all start blaming Blachowicz for the murder. And this is when everybody really starts to turn on him. So, what did you think of these scenes, if anything?
Yeah, like I said, I saw this coming when I saw him be such an asshole.
Yeah.
To everyone. And I thought that was his strategy. I actually thought he was going to have a bigger role in the movie because I thought, okay, maybe they're going to have to gang up on him and take him out so that he doesn't take out all of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a regular bully story. You know, this guy that is trying to overly compensate for his lack of something.
Yeah.
And also, it's survival too for him. I guess this is like his survival mechanism.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, there's some strategies people have in life to get ahead. I honestly don't think Blachowicz meant to do this, because after he gets killed, the kid Rank, he starts slapping himself, hitting himself, and everybody in the little society that is the Long Walk is like telling Blachowicz, you're a murderer, you're bad, you're evil. And he feels a bit ostracized from the group. Yeah. And that continues on throughout most of the film until he's, gets his ticket punched. But there was actually another kid who we haven't spoken about yet, and his name is Stebbins. And Stebbins is also a top contender to win because he's like this tall, muscular, like Aryan-looking white dude, right? And when this kid gets killed, he says, well, I guess our chances just went up by 1/16 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, like, even though most of the people here are like really pissed off at Blachowicz, there's other people there who are like still thinking about their own self-interest. You know what I'm saying?
And I think like these characters like Barkovich, it says a lot about like they're all poor, right? Mm-hmm. They're all lower class. They're all trying to survive. And even if like we are in this world, in today's society, we are fighting for the same things and we are wanting the same things, like to have a family, to have a roof over our heads. There are still people among us that betray our cause, even though they are lower class. And etc.
Class traitor.
Yeah.
So little Stephen King is in the story, and he's like, "Hey man, I just got word, some reports up top that some kid needs to take a poop. I saw it on MSNBC." He's like, they're like, "What do you mean? What happened?" And there's like this kid who like takes a dump. Oh, you should have got the scene when he pulled his pants down. YouTube's deleting all my videos anyway. Fuck it. You should just go in.
I mean, I have to say, this was the hardest slideshow I had to make because they were walking all the time.
Yeah.
So all the pictures were blurry.
Yeah. So thank you, Acti, for doing this. Good job on it. But yeah, basically this one kid, he has to take a shit. And the only thing they do in the Long Walk to help you is give you water. That's the only thing you can ask for. No food, no toilet breaks, no let me tie my shoe. You have to keep a 3-mile pace, right? And if you slow down, you get a warning, right? So this kid, he tries to pull his pants down while walking, and it's like shit everywhere. And even though, he got to take a dump, he's like, I'm sorry, it's kind of gross, but it's also kind of funny. It's like such a fucked up situation.
Yeah. Imagine trying to poop and someone's holding a gun to your head. I wouldn't be able to poop. I can't even poop when someone is like in the same house with me.
Wow.
I mean, not you, obviously. But
no,
like a stranger.
I can attest that she can't poop while I'm in the house. I be hearing it. I be like, all right, honey, I'm about to go to work. She's like, bye. And then I hear just somebody scuttling to the bathroom.
No.
Oh my God. Acting, you're human, okay?
No, I poop when you're in the house. I just don't poop when you're in the bathroom.
Anyway, he gets his ticket punched after taking a poop, and it's really gross. I think that was probably the grossest one because like dying in your own shit is really bad. But they even have to walk at nighttime. So these guys are like, they're trying to make it. And there was actually this interesting scene. And, I think Ray was dreaming of his mother while he was walking, which goes to show like what the mind could do if you really tried,
Yeah, they're like taking these little naps basically while they're walking.
Yeah. I think, humans, we have a very high endurance for walking. I think I read somewhere that, ancient humans, because we were hunter gatherers longer than we've had civilization. Like we used to walk 4 miles and miles every single day just searching for food or
Mm.
chasing down our prey and stuff like that.
Mm.
So yeah, this is when I think Pete also talks about he was dreaming as well about his home or something like that.
No, this is when McReeves asked if Ray has a girlfriend.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
And he says that he has one. He had one, but he had to end it because of this.
I feel like he's lying. Ray is the type of guy to lie and say, "Yeah, I got a girl. She just goes to another school. You haven't met her." He's that guy.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really know anything other than this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe if that was that little, but that little girl was too little to be his.
Please no, please don't do that to her.
I was thinking like, was that her? And he just ignored her.
But this is the scene I'm talking about when Pete says, "No, man, I don't have a girl."
Yeah.
You didn't catch that the first time?
I mean, I didn't think it was homoerotic.
That was very sultry the way he said it too.
He is a little like jolly guy though.
Yeah, jolly. You know another word for jolly? Happy. What's another word for happy? Gay. I'm just keeping it real. Anyway, so basically, Ray starts to like flip out on Pete, and he's like, you're trying to be nice to me, but you're just like everybody else here. You're just trying to get me out the team or get me out the game so that you can win and stuff like that. So there's like a lack of trust between them and stuff. But yeah, essentially, I think Ray gets like 3 strikes. You know what I'm saying? And he has to walk up the hill that they're now going up through at night, and all these kids are like tired, they're sleepy, they've been walking for hours, and bullets start raining down on a bunch of people. All we hear is warning, warning, pa pa pa.
Yeah, and
stuff like that.
Even Major comes up and he says like, half of you are gonna die on this hill.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like that. This was probably like the hardest part that I saw. Like imagine walking for like 12 hours without sleeping. And yeah, this is when we see little Stephen King, the bookworm. He breaks his ankle in the middle and stuff like that. And I think at this point there was this scene when Ray, he has a gun to the back of his head because he's got 3 strikes and he's walking up the hill. So there's a guy with a gun right there, and Pete tells him, pour the water on your head, and then ask the soldier with the gun for more water, right? Yeah. And the soldier gives him the water, and he looks at Ray, and Ray's like, "You get paid to shoot me, motherfucker. Don't look at me now." I thought that was so that was so cool. But what did you think about the night scene? Because this was very intense.
Yeah, very intense, very terrifying. That like they're walking at night without sleep, and okay, I can only imagine, and I wish I only imagined it.
Yeah, with a bullet to the back of your head, man. Like,
yeah, but I guess like this also shows that sort of, I don't know, like crisis that you go through, that maybe you feel like you can't trust anybody, even though everyone is on the same boat for you.
Yeah.
And on top of it, like the way I think McReeves was calling Ray the compadre, that feels very commie.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's Spanish just for like friend or comrade. But basically, I think in this scene, it proved to Ray that Pete is not like everybody else. He genuinely wants to try to push until the end and get as many people as far as they can as possible. So he's not a hater,
Yeah, and that was sweet.
Yeah, really sweet. Really sweet in a loving type of way. So moving forward, so in this scene, it's like the next day, many of them have survived, but many of them have also died. I think now they're like down to maybe a few, maybe 10 or 15. And I forgot exactly what they're talking about here. Can you remind me?
Yeah, they're talking about here McReeves is talking about what he thinks will happen. And he says like he doesn't really want to beat people that badly. And when it's time for him to, go, he will just sit down quietly. And he will not feel bad about it.
Yeah, I think if I remember now, Ray is like, do you really think you'll win this? Yeah. And he's like, by the time I saw that kid get killed, I said, no, I can't win this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And Ray, like, he says, like, I need to win this for another reason. It's
mhm.
not for like all the other
Yeah,
ones.
it's not for the money or the
Yeah.
wish. It's for something deeper, right? And we're still left in the dark on what Ray's motivation is, but I think we find out soon. And yeah, this is also, one of the other characters who's prominent in the film is this guy named Kali, who I presume, or they make him out to be Native American, though I don't know if this actor is actually Native American. I highly doubt it. Uh,
Joshua Object.
yeah, I mean, click his name and find out where he's from. Because if they got black boys from Mississippi who are really from the UK, then they can do anything.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian. Okay, well, Canada actually has a large First Nation population.
Yeah, he is from that area.
Okay, so
Gun-Ziki.
all right, so he's actually a real native. Well, shout out to all the real natives who are left repping their heritage, And yeah, there's a little bit of commentary, I would say, about the shittiness of small town America with this comment here. Fucking trees and one horse towns everywhere. It's like a little shade on, like, how flyover America really sucks and looks. And there's this interesting commentary going on right now about Europe versus America. And like they take a picture of like the typical average European small town versus the American small town with like an aerial shot. And like with the European small town, it's like dense houses next to each other. You can tell people walk everywhere, say hi to their neighbors. And in the American small town, it's like just roads and roads and roads and gas stations and McDonald's. Like, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that right there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and not that Texas is a small town.
Yeah.
It's a whole state.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like last year this year actually, the beginning of this year, when we went there, like the amount of driving we had to do from the airport to the city was insane.
I think this film is also giving commentary to Americans like, you don't want to walk like the Europeans, do you? Don't you wish you had a Dodge? A Hellcat, a Mustang. This movie is like anti-walking propaganda.
Wow.
They're making walking seem like the worst thing Americans could do, honestly. Now I hate this film. It's actually for an anti-fascist film, it's pretty damn fascist. It's like, this is the best car commercial you could ever make.
Wow. Well, actually, I saw one review of this movie where the guy is actually walking on a treadmill while watching The Long Walk.
Really?
Yes.
That's crazy. Why would you do that? I mean, when we watched this film, we felt lazy as hell afterwards because these boys, they put in some steps. They put in major steps. Anyway, man, this scene is pretty heartbreaking too. This murder right here. So the bookworm boy, he's got a broken ankle, and you can't see it here, but it's like so twisted, like his whole shoe is like covered in blood, and he's like, my ankle, my ankle. It's not fair. And then he gets his ticket punched, right? And Blachowicz is. I think he says, our chances just went up to like something callous like that. And Pete is telling him like, fuck you, Blachowicz. And Blachowicz turns around and says, I got plans for you, motherfucker. And I'm like, that's the scariest line in the whole film.
Yes.
That's scarier than what Major ever said. But any comments on this death scene or Blachowicz's menace?
I mean, it was just sad because he didn't even get to write his book for that long.
Yeah.
And what happened to his book, What happened at the end? We never got to know or explore that part of his ending.
Yeah.
And as for Barkovich, I was still like keen on my theory that they're going to have to take him out.
Yeah. Like there would have been a grand fight while you walk at 3 miles an hour.
No, they're gonna the Musketeers are gonna make a sneaky plan and just like eliminate him.
Yeah, something like that. I thought it would have been interesting, like if I was in this group walking and like we make all these bonds and like ideas, like we get to know each other. Then like if somebody gets their ticket punched, somebody goes back and tries to collect their items real quick, and we sort of see that later in the film. Like people start passing out like necklaces and say, give this to grandma. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, pick up little Stephen King's book, pick up what's his name's bandana. So like you can give it.
That's a death sentence in this case.
I understand. Like, but there's a way to like, people have shown like you get your 3 warnings. Who doesn't have a warning right now? Okay, go back and pick up his stuff and we'll help you get to the next one. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would have done. We try to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like at this point, they've been walking for a day and a half.
Yeah.
I think. and they're already tired. They didn't sleep.
Yeah.
So if you go back and you get your first warning, then you have to keep on walking without getting your second warning or
Right.
something.
But if we're
in order for the warnings to be erased.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like at a certain point, like we would talk out some dynamics and rules for like, yeah, we're gonna take care of each other. We know some of us are gonna die, but like we're gonna try to make it as humane as possible. That's what I would be trying to do if I was in the group. But anyway, so Major comes back and says, "Hey boys, with you big swinging, sweaty, musty."
Now he
sex.
was homoerotic.
Yes, there's a lot of everything he says is like coated and just lathered in just gay. Just
I know he's getting spanked like when he goes back home.
No, it's like in Mysterious Skin. This is the guy that says, "Fuck me with your hot teenage cock." As a, I hate that line. No, when we do our Oscars, that is going to be. We have to have a category for line you remember the most, and that's one of them, bro. That's top. Anyway, Big Swing and Sack comes through, and he says, "You made it 100 miles, boys. I'm proud of you. You're going to raise the GDP of our nation." I'm like, oh, yeah. And so, anyway, this scene is pretty wild. Like, they march into some small hometown. The police are saluting. Little kids are watching. And, people are like looking at the march as they go by. And this kid tries to run away to some diner and he gets clapped up right at the door. And I thought it was interesting how the police are the only people who are saluting the long march. But there's this scene when they walk by this church and the woman at the church is just like looking at them. Like she doesn't give that impression. I don't know if you noticed any of that or if that you thought about it.
I remember that scene with the woman in the church, but I don't know. Like I just thought because it's like looking like this rural part of America.
Yeah.
I just thought like she probably doesn't even watch it.
Maybe.
And she just like sees every once a year all these boys like taking off from in front of her church.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know, she doesn't care, and she's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Praying over them.
Maybe. I think, maybe in this future, because I'm still trying to piece together the world outside. Like the police and the military are one, right? But maybe, the church has sort of been separated from it. You know what I'm saying? Like in our world and timeline, usually the religious community is very tied in with the state and they support the army, the military, and everything. But maybe in this one, it's been separated a bit.
I mean, if we consider this like a totalitarian regime, then I would say they would use religion to use people.
Yeah, maybe. But moving forward in the film, the guys are talking more about their hopes and dreams. Baker is talking here like, I want to get off this planet. I want to go to the moon. And
at the end, you get to wish for one thing. Yeah. Plus, you have the money reward. So they're talking about what they would wish for.
Yeah.
And Baker wants to go to the moon.
Olsen wants 10 naked ladies. And they're saying that, when you win, you should wish for something that you can't pay for, and 10 naked ladies is not something. Or going to the moon.
They're making fun of him.
Yeah. Just slight banter, making slight banter on the road. And and I think this is when Pete says, we're going to wish for Long Walk has 2 winners. And I think this is when Ray says, I want my wish to change things. And Olsen and also the other guy, Stebbins, say that you can't talk like that because that can get your ticket punched. One of the rules of this is that you can't talk bad about the regime or make a wish to change the regime if you win, right? But Ray and Pete are sort of like, man, fuck all that, whatever you're talking about, fuck the major, fuck this society, fuck this everything, right? So the guy starts throwing middle fingers to the police, shouting fuck the major, and they have like a little mini like release, you know what I mean? What did you think of this scene? I thought it was cool.
It was very cool, and like the way, once again, how all these characters aspire for different things. And it was also cute that like McReeves obviously wanted to win this race with Garrity. Like he just wanted to have 2 winners. Yeah. And that's kind of also similar to Hunger Games, because that's what happened in the first Hunger Games, that they changed the rule from 1 winner to 2 winners. And that's what broke the chain society. And I feel like here Garrity was being like revengefully selfish.
Hmm.
Like he thinks that that's going to change the things.
Yeah.
That with his plans, which we'll learn more about it later. And
Hmm.
then in this last scene, this guy with the boombox, not the boombox, but
Little
the
radio.
speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, where have you been all this time? You've been walking in silence, and you just now pull up the music.
I know, right? I think he was searching for a signal the entire time, because they're walking in like very rural areas. And so sometimes you get no radio signal out there.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, moving forward in this part of the story, and they're walking through the rain. They're walking through all types of weather. And I think in this scene, Baker is like trying to take a poop too.
yeah.
And he gets a gun to his head. He almost gets his ticket punched. Very wicked right there. And yeah, he smells very bad because he didn't get a chance to wipe his butt. Little bit of comic relief. Like this film has a little bit of comedy that's really
Yeah.
good.
Especially when I was making the slice, I noticed like every time there's a tragic death, they have a fun conversation
Afterwards.
afterwards.
Right.
Not immediately, of course, but
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the dynamic of these three. Like these three need to make another movie. You know what I mean? I could watch that again because they have good banter.
There's no chance of sequel for this one.
Yeah, but I mean, like maybe it's
Yeah,
different
another,
storyline. Yeah, but yeah, Ray starts talking about his dad. He said his dad was his hero, right? And this is when we find out Ray's origin story for why he wanted to take the long walk. Apparently, his father was an academic or a thinking man who still had all the banned books because in this society, right, they banned all the old knowledge we take for granted, and he was still sharing it with his son. But then the major knocks on the door of his house, drags his father outside, and says, "You can renounce all that you have been teaching and learning right now and be a model to your family, or you could die right now." And his father says, "I'd rather die." And I'm like, damn, how bad of a cook was Jenny? How bad of a son? How bad of a son was Ray?
How much did you actually love Bill Withers and Michael Jackson?
I know, right? He's like, if I can't have my Prince albums, take me now.
But yeah, I mean, at first this felt a little silly just because of that. But it is actually like very fitting for today's America, I would say, where they are banning
books,
banning holidays, banning different things, all things that are like just not conservatively white.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of real, in
very,
a way.
Very real. And I think he did this to be an example and a hero to his son and to his wife. Like, like there are things worth dying for is what this scene was about. Right. And like, we're not going to bow down to a fascist regime at a certain point, So that's what I thought this is for. And so we find out that Ray is planning on killing the major. If he wins, he's going to ask for the gun or he's going to find a way to kill the major, right? And he's going to change things the way his father wanted to. And he's looking at the people on the side of the road who are watching, and he's despising them. He's saying they want to see our brains blown out. And Pete is telling him, like, vengeance is not enough. Pete is not with this plan. He does not like this plan at all. And I don't know if he was coming at it from sort of like a Christian or humanitarian angle, or the idea that, violence is just going to create more violence, maybe, killing the major will make our society unstable like it was during the Great War that caused all of us to be, living in poverty and stuff like that. I don't know. What did you think about this conversation?
The way I interpreted it was that Pete was saying it that just because the major gets killed, it's not going to change anything. Just having your personal vendetta solved is not going to be enough for the rest of humanity.
Yeah, but killing
how I got it.
Killing the major is not killing some guy down the street. It's killing essentially the president. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the system is still there. Like, even if, for example, like Trump, for example, is doing horrible things right now, but even when he gets down and doesn't get elected, like there are still conservatives, there are still people like him that protect the system.
Yeah, but I think there are some uniquely bad people and certain type of regimes, right? Like, um, if you kill the U.S. president, right? And by the way, YouTube, we do not want to kill the U.S. president, right? But if you kill the U.S. president, that does not mean America falls apart, right? But if you kill, let's say, I don't know, the leader of a coup in Africa, like Ibrahim Traore, right? You kill that guy, you can make the whole thing collapse because it's built on cards. It's not as deep and as entrenched. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, what happened after Charlie Kirk died?
but that was, I mean, honestly, I would argue that Turning Point, his organization is not going to be the same because, like, Charlie Kirk was like the last normal white man. The rest of the right wing group are just like weird incel, like secretly gay, used to be woke, but now they, grifted to the other side. And I think honestly, if Trump did get knocked off last year, which happened by the skin of his ear, we would be living in a totally different timeline and the MAGA movement would be dead.
You think so?
I think so because Trump even said it himself. I'm MAGA and MAGA is whatever I say it is. He said that this year. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I think, if you knocked off Erdogan in Turkey, Turkey is not going to fall apart, right?
Yeah.
But I think AKP might not be the same because he has singularly made the party around his image. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that also doesn't mean that a new guy can't show up because now he has all of these people around him that he indoctrinated his ideas to,
right? And
also made himself like a role model to. So I think that's what I was thinking. Really, that's yes, Major is this big scary guy who probably has a lot of control in this country, but he's also probably a pawn within this bigger scheme of America.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we don't know if Major is the president or just a top guy,
or it could be like, yeah, maybe Trump won't get elected next time, but we will still have capitalism. We will still have financial crisis.
Yeah.
And all those different things,
Yeah.
So it's not really having vengeance towards Trump, but it's having a vengeance for the overall society. Right. Not the society, the system.
Right. By the way, do you need a pause?
No.
No? Okay. So anyway, I have a 3-hour rant I got to go on right now. Okay. So let me... Anyway, moving forward in the story, right? A kid gets ran over by a tank. I forgot exactly what happens here, but y'all just enjoy this little scenery right here. Kid gets rolled over.
Sorry.
I think one of the rules is like you can't cross over off of the pavement. So if you get shot and you land somewhere on the pavement, the tank just has to roll over on you. So that's what happened here, I think, if I remember right. There's another kid, I think this is Boombox Kid, right? Yeah. And I think he is about to
starts running. It's that point where kids are losing their minds.
Yeah, they've just been going so long that he just starts running off the track and
he takes off his shirt and he just starts running to the field and they shoot him.
Yeah, he just goes crazy, right? And so, Stebbins is talking about carrots and donkeys. What's happening here?
This is when Hank dies.
Yeah.
Basically. So he's like so tired and he was the kind of walker that tried to calculate everything, like enough rations and I don't know.
And he also believed in superstitions, like my lucky gum. If I spit out my gum, then I can't go.
Yeah. So he's like this very calculated walker, but he just like can't take it anymore. And he says like Stebbins notices that he's gonna go out probably and is kind of triggering Hank.
Yeah.
So Ray comes in to help Hank, but Hank is just gone basically. And he takes out his gun.
He takes out the gum and grabs the gun.
Yes.
Of the soldier.
And tries to grab the gun from the soldier. And Art, his friend, is like trying to, go back to him, but also Ray, holds him back from going. And Hank yells, I did it all wrong. And
as he gets killed, right? Yeah. And they let him suffer. They let him bleed out because they were trying to warn everybody, like, don't act like that. Because Hank is the first one we see who tries to go for the soldier's gun, right?
Yeah.
And then they shoot him in the stomach, right? And basically Stebbins is the guy who is like the tall Aryan boy, and he's saying like, look at Hank, that he's turning weak now. He can't think about the carrot, which is the money, or the stick of the gun to continue to move forward. And that's the breaking point for people, right?
Yeah, I think like, when we said that this walk might be a metaphor for life itself,
Mm-hmm.
and also like the system that we live in this life right now, Hank like maybe represents that person that does everything right,
Mm-hmm.
graduates and everything is calculated, has a
Mm-hmm.
family. Hank was also the only one that had a wife, by the
Mm.
way, in this group, which we learned that later on.
Which I'm like, that was he's 16. How you
Yeah.
get married that young, my guy?
But yeah, like he does everything right. He's like calculating his rations. Same way in life.
Mm.
You always do the right thing. You pay your bills, and then what happens at the end? And I don't know, like the way he was like, I did it all wrong. What did he do wrong? We never, that is never explained.
Yeah, yeah. Like some of the thing, like that line, I didn't like right there because it's like he went out blaming himself for failing in the game, right?
Yeah.
Other than the fact that the game is rigged from the very beginning, right? So
maybe that's what he realized.
Mm-hmm.
Like the game is rigged, and I played fair when I should have played rigged.
Or not play it at all.
Like, yeah, or not play it at all.
Yeah.
But that's what life in the system does to us.
Yeah. I wish, he went out and said, it's all fake, or something like that. Like when the kids die, like they just sort of have these realizations, you know what I mean? That this whole thing was a sham, But it's hard to say something that profound when you're dying because you took a shit.
And you're very tired.
And you're very tired. But anyway, so they're talking about Hank's wife, who he left behind, and everybody's really sad that Hank dies. I think they were the saddest when Hank died because everybody's sort of like,
he was one of the musketeers.
Yeah, he was one of the musketeers. He was the homie, right? And so they're all promising to do something for his wife. We also get to see that Stebbins is getting sick, and this is kind of surprising because he's one of the favorites to win, and Blachowicz is here kind of sad because he's like, y'all didn't ask me if I could do something for Hank's wife. I always loved Hank. He was one of my best friends. But then we see Blachowicz start to break down when he's, he keeps on remembering Rank and how Rank got killed earlier because he was making fun of Rank's name, and he's having all these issues. So Blachowicz ends up taking his own life. He slices his throat in front of the guards, right? And he's starting to bleed out in front of the road. So what did you think of Blachowicz's ending?
I was not expecting it, honestly, but it was sort of sad that I know like he did a bad thing and he was blaming himself like for the whole part of it. Mm-hmm. And it was just very sad that he knew he did something wrong, but he couldn't help it. Mm-hmm. And then he ended up just taking his own life.
Yeah. I think his breakdown was a very interesting aspect to have to the film. When we watched it the first time, I was expecting, like you were saying, like the boys are going to like gang up on him to like push him off the sidewalk so he can get, his ticket punched or whatever. But to have him decide to commit suicide because he remembers the death of the boy, that's a very, very, very deep thing to do. You know what I mean? Like how the game of life or being in the military or any sort of like, very rigid fascist organization breaks your mind. I thought it was very moving, actually, how they did it.
Yeah. It's like no matter how you might act like you don't care or you play the tough guy, like at the end of the day, it's going to get to you.
Absolutely. So moving forward, they all start singing the song later on that night. Oh, I loved her, my sweet Clementine. And that's in honor of Olsen's wife, right? Because her name was Clementine. And they sort of forgot all about Blachowicz. That was quick.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah. And I think we're down now to maybe 5 or 6 guys, and we know all their names. We basically have Kali here, the Native American guy. And yeah, he's looking at the people on the side of the road saying they're pigs who come and stare at us, I think.
Yeah, they're talking about like they're getting closer to the checkpoint, like one of the checkpoints. And they know that Ray's mom is going to be there because this is his state, right? So, yeah. And here, Kali is saying, like, I don't have anybody who would come for me. So I don't have anyone but the fucking pigs who are just there to come and stare.
Yeah.
And he sort of feels like this loneliness, my family can't come here. And maybe he doesn't have anyone. We don't know.
Yeah. Now, I know this film is post-racial, like in the sense like race is not spoken about or ethnicity as well. But I feel like, with all the different characters from the different backgrounds that they have, and not to make them like caricatures of their race or anything, but like, essentially Kali, says like, I'm sort of done with this race. Is this a scene? That's not when he does it yet?
No.
Okay. But I felt like maybe with Kali's character, right, especially when it comes to his death, they could have made him like speak up more for like the native people and like just the twisted idea that, he has to walk across basically his own ancestors' land to try to get money from the white man to live now. Like it's sort of really
fucked up.
Yeah, really fucked up. You know what I'm saying? So I thought maybe just like 1 or 2 comments from Kali to be like, saying like, my people used to roam these lands freely. Now look at me. Like just 1 or 2 lines like that would have been like really cool.
I mean, at the end, he did the chants.
Yeah, we're going to talk about cool, that. I thought it was at this point, but
yeah.
It
would have been, it would have been a nice touch. But yeah, here like McReeves thinks that it's actually worse that Ray's mom is going to show up because he thinks that it will make Ray more emotional and it will just break him. And it sort of happens like that in the next scene.
Yeah, so they show up in this small little town and Ray's mom is there and she's like, oh my God, look at your feet. And I think at this point, Ray took off his shoes because his shoes just like the soles fell out. And he wants to give his mom a hug, but he's so close to the pavement that a soldier has like a gun to the back of his head right there. And his mom was like, get away from me before they blow your brains out all over my nice cashmere sweater.
Wow. I mean, you can see here like Ray is just absolutely gone at this point mentally.
Yeah, absolutely insane. Like staying awake for 5 days is enough to drive a person insane. I don't know how you could walk and stay awake too. Like at most, I know I joked earlier, like, oh, I could make it with my dad's shoes, but like most I could do is maybe 2 days, like staying awake and walking. That's insane. They're at 5 days at this point.
I'm out in the first 5 minutes and I'm taking one of the soldiers with me.
Yeah, sure, acting. Yes, acting. Come here. Give me your gun.
I'm sorry, the sexist movie doesn't have women in it.
No, I'm just
so that we can show how bad bitches we can be.
I'm just sorry, acting. You're just so cute and so nice. I just can't imagine you snatching an AK from a grown soldier man and then pointing at it and shoot. You'd be like, please, can I go home?
I wouldn't be like, hey, can I get home? I wouldn't be like that. No.
You wouldn't be like that. Could you kill somebody with a gun?
If I'm about to die, yes.
I could not see it. I couldn't see it. All right. So, I think Ray is saying, like, I made such a big mistake at this point. Like, he's sort of, like, twisted in his mind. Like, how did I end up here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is where we find out Ray's story, because Ray starts to tell him, something to get him back down to earth. And Ray's parents both died. He was abused by a drunk uncle who took him in. And he ended up living on the streets and just picking fights and robbing and stealing just to survive. And while he was fighting out in the streets one day, he got sliced up real bad and left to die. And that's when he went to the hospital and was taken up by the state, right? And Ray is telling him that's why you need to choose love. Because like when I got sliced up, when I almost died, I just realized I was living on the wrong path. You know what I mean? And Ray, you need to get back on the right path and do what's right, So what'd you think of that?
Low key, McReeves' background story was a bit underwhelming for me. And like the fact that State took him and State was the power that brought him back to life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's that supposed to tell us.
Yeah.
That like I guess like the state that also made him in this situation took him and made him better. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why even you can love something you hate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But for me, it just felt like a bit like I like the beginning of the story, but I didn't like the part where the state took him and then like
Yeah.
brought him back to humanity or
Yeah.
something.
I don't, yeah, it's sort of weird, right? And this is where I think, and I didn't read the book, but it makes me feel like, yeah, this is definitely Stephen King's first novel because like the characters, like they're deep, but like some of the things don't make sense. Like you said, the state brings them in. It's like this is like a very surface level dystopian novel. Like there's not a lot of background or meat to like dissect McReeves' motivations for joining the long walk.
And it just doesn't make sense. Like the same state that does the long walk is picking kids up from the street and bringing them back to health and life.
I think it's possible that maybe, this is like we're just filling it in. I'm riffing it now, but maybe the state adopts the kids from the street or with dead parents and turns them into soldiers. So maybe that's why McReeves made it this long because he's been training all his life. You know what I mean? Since he was a kid,
He was indoctrinated.
Yeah, maybe he was indoctrinated into the state and stuff like that, and he decides to do the long walk to prove his patriotism or something like that. I don't know. Maybe. I'm just throwing out theories.
I don't know. I mean, his goal, as he says, is to give back to his community.
Yeah.
And do good things with the money.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But moving forward, I think at this point, Stebbins, the guy right here who's sick, he's saying like, at this point, you got to do it on your own. Nobody can help you or pick you up at this point. And basically it's just Stebbins, Kali, Pete, Ray, and Baker that are left, right?
Yeah.
And Ray is like, I agree, I'm going to do it on my own. Kali ends up, going crazy and saying, fuck this. And he grabs a soldier's gun and wastes him. And I'm like, yeah, that's hard. But why didn't you shoot the other guy up there, right? He shot this guy and said, no, but he like did it. When I watched it again, he shot this guy and said, come on, guys. And he's like, the other guy's like looking at him for like 3 seconds. Like, you could have, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's the adrenaline rush or something.
I know, right? Probably. But that was cool to see Kali fight back. But he ends up getting killed, and he starts chanting in his native language, Algonquin. And I thought this was really cool, man. Like the way they did. Kali had the most like glorious hero's death.
This was the best death.
Yeah. What did you think about it?
At least he took someone out.
Yeah. Took someone out. But any comments on this scene?
Yeah, this is who I'll be if I do the long walk.
Okay. Chanting in Turkish.
I'm just not going to walk that long. I'm going to do it in the first 5 minutes or something.
Chanting in Black Sea dialect. Anyway.
But yeah, it's cool. And also on top of it, like, see, when he killed the soldier, he gets his first ticket, which is funny.
Yeah.
And they have to wait until the third ticket, which is like a minute later or something. And so when they're counting down the seconds, there's another like soldier lady, actually, I think, walking towards him, getting ready to shoot him. And he also kills himself in order not to be murdered by the state. So yeah, coolest death ever in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel like Kali was like plotting on the soldiers the entire time because the way he ran up on this soldier and snatched the gun so smooth, like he had been thinking about that for at least the last 5 hours.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, definitely.
He had been on it. He's like, they're sleepy too. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, low-key, like what, because Pete or McReeves, he always says like, oh, you should focus on the good things. It's about this moment. Just think about passing through this moment. Yeah. And, it's middle of the night, it's raining, and he's brushing his teeth from his like bag. And he has this state of mind. And I feel like that's so right, because once you try to contemplate if you should give up or not, then you are done. You're going to give up at one point.
Exactly.
But McReeves never did that. And I always wondered, like, how is he able to do all of this, like, happy things.
Yeah, because I think during this scene when he's talking to Ray, he says, "I've been walking all my life,"
Yeah.
and so I'm imagining him as like an orphan child, like literally doing like the long walk, but his own type of way.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, moving forward in the story, after Collie does his glorious exit, you know what I mean? Yeah, Baker starts to fall out too. And Baker, he has an internal hemorrhage. He's bleeding from the inside. And he says, "I'm going to die now, boys. Please take my rosary to my grandmother because I'm going home. I'm going home." And this scene was so moving, man. And especially the way they did it too. Like he like this is one of the finest acted scenes in the entire film, I would say. What'd you think of this?
I'm about to cry.
Are you about to cry?
No, it was so good.
Yeah.
And like the last part, he was like, don't watch me while they do it. I don't want you to watch me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like, and the way that they are left, yeah.
Yeah. Very moving. Very moving. So all right. So this is when the major pulls up. They're about to go into the city. And this is when they're about to be with all the real patriots, right? Because all the real patriots in this universe, I guess, live in the city. And so, yeah, they're crossing over to this bridge. And the major shows up and says, "Look at you boys with your big swinging sacks. Aren't you happy you made it this far? It's about to be so glorious." And Ray is like, "Oh, shut up, you old sack of shit. Shut the fuck up. Shut up." And so, yeah, the major likes it. He likes it when they talk back.
That's why I said he wants to get spanked.
Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, that's my boy. That's a fighter right there. That's some spirit, my boy." But yeah, this is when Stebbins, is coaxed into saying something real. Like Peter's like, "Say something real. You've been talking shit the entire time. How do you know so much about the major?" Because all this time they were walking, right? Stebbins was saying, "Oh, the major takes a shower. The major has supper. The major does this and that. The long walk is like this, right?" And he says, "I'm the rabbit. I'm essentially the one that's been here to make you all walk faster, just like a rabbit in a greyhound race, because the major is my father. I'm his bastard son. And all I've ever wanted to do is not be one of the dozens he leaves outside. I want to be invited to my father's house for tea," which doesn't sound American at all. That doesn't sound American.
That's the most vanilla request ever.
Yes, but I just want to be in my father's house to have sex with my hot stepsisters. That's an American response. But yeah, basically Stebbins says, "I'd like to end it, because I've realized after this long walk, it's all BS. And I don't even want to be around my father anymore." And this was very interesting when I watched it the second time, because what Major says to Stebbins is like, "Good luck, son," when Stebbins goes to get his dog tag. But, that's such a general phrase, like, "Good luck, son," But looking back at it now, I wonder if Stebbins was thinking like, "Oh, he does acknowledge me. He knows who I am. Maybe I can end it because what I'm seeking, he already knows."
Yeah, because we kind of don't know if Major knows also, because we learned that Major has a lot of children from everywhere, from a lot of women.
But do you think when Major said, "Good luck, son," it was just a general talk, or do you think he knew that's my son?
I don't think he knew.
You don't think he knew?
No.
Yeah, the Major's always got shades on. He probably hits all his like concubines with the shades on too.
Why would you say that?
I'm just saying. So he don't know who he's having sex with. I don't know.
No, like he knows who he's having sex with, but he probably doesn't know what is the end product.
I guess. Yeah, but anyway, basically Stebbins gets his ticket punched, and they make it into the city, right? So I think here Pete is saying, I never really thought about death, but once I was scared shitless. But there's something about being with these boys, and he says, "I'm not afraid anymore," which shows like some real growth, because even though Pete comes across as like the wisest of them all, like he does show like growth in this story, like from like, "I'm not going to pick you up," to like, I've learned to accept death and accept love and all that sort of stuff. So
he's not flawless. He does shitty things too, like he was mad at Pete and things like that.
Well, he was mad at Ray.
Uh,
Are you talking about Pete or Ray? I'm
I'm
confused.
talking about Ray.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you
Yeah.
were talking about
I
Pete?
was talking about Pete. But who said this here? Is this dialogue here from
That's Ray.
Oh, that's Ray saying
Yeah.
this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but either way, my commentary about Pete still remains that he did show growth within this film. But the same applies to Ray too. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, I think this once again like shows how the other's death impacted them really
Mm-hmm.
like, and it also kind of shows a little bit of the trauma that it will create.
Mm-hmm.
Like you do the long walk and you win, and you're gonna be haunted by this trauma of like
Mm-hmm.
all these people getting
Yeah.
killed
Yeah.
in insane ways. And also like some of these people essentially become your friends
Yeah.
till death, literally.
Mm.
So I think like it shows how big of an effect this thing has on them.
Yeah. And like, they come across as so different than when we first saw them at the beginning of the film. Like they were just boys right then and there,
Goofy.
laughing, joking, yeah, goofy, but now they're walking in the rain after all their friends died, and like they've grown beyond their years, you know what I mean? So this is like a classic war story, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but yeah, something very interesting happens when they make it there. Ray has like his second warning and he's falling behind. And, Pete actually stops walking, and Ray has to come up. No, sorry. Yeah, Pete stops walking and he's like, go ahead, do what you have to do. Because Pete is like, I'm good. I don't want to win that bad where my last friend is going to die. But then Ray comes and says, come up, get up. You're going to walk with me. We're going all the way to the end. And then Ray falls behind and he gets his last warning and he gets shot. And he says, I can't see it. I can't see it. And I think that's when Ray realized, like, I'm going to choose the exit instead of the vengeance, that I was searching for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do you think of that scene, that twist? Because I did not expect this. I did not expect Pete to be the last one standing. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, it was like, he kind of did what he said. He said, like, once I'm satisfied, I'm just going to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Pete did. But yeah, and I think here, like, Ray sort of sacrificed. I think it's like two things. Like, Ray realized after seeing his mom that this thing that he did, like, the whole aim with revenge is not really something right. It's not really something good or productive or effective.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want to do it because he entered the competition to revenge his father, but he ended up making his mom lose another person from her life, her son.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's when he realized he did wrong, and that's why he had that crisis moment when he saw his mom.
Yeah.
But here also, because he knew Pete was gonna do something better than him, he just like kind of sacrificed himself.
Yeah, I guess it's so interesting, and man, I don't know if Ray thought this, but he's like, maybe Pete is right and vengeance is not the way. And everything you said about seeing his mom breaking him down is true. But I was also thinking that maybe Ray is going to sacrifice his own life so that Pete can do what Ray would do. I was thinking that like the first time, you know what I mean? The first time we saw this, I was like, Ray is sacrificing his life because he learned from Pete, but Pete can now see and feel what Ray felt inside when his father died. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking too, like transferring, the cause and the effect, the motivation to somebody else so that, the deed could be done. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking too. And so, yeah, he tries to get up, but the major ends up killing Ray right here, putting a bullet in between, and Pete is just broken by it, right? And so Pete wins the cash prize, but he says, "I want a gun," and he takes this gun right here and he points it at the major, and he says, "This is for Ray," and pow, right? That's the end, right? And going back to what I was saying earlier, I feel like Ray was doing it for personal things, but by Pete doing the murder, now he's doing it for the cause of ending the long walk. Because before then, Pete didn't have any idea of wanting to kill the major, right? And maybe if Pete never met Ray, he wouldn't have killed the major. But after hearing about and witnessing all the evil the major did, he's like, yeah, this guy has to go, at least. You know what I mean? He had a bastard son he didn't care for. You know, he literally killed my friend in front of me. He killed my friend's father. He's been responsible for all these boys I grew to love over time.
Yeah.
So it gives it more motivation. Like Ray's act would not have been revolutionary. Pete's act is revolutionary because it's against the system.
Yeah.
But like, that's what
I get it. I get it. So Ray couldn't see that killing the major would be revolutionary because he was too focused on the personal thing.
Yeah.
And
also for us, the audience, for us, the audience, it's like if Ray did it, it would have just been, oh, he killed the man that killed his father.
Yeah.
But when Pete does it, it's like against the system, which I think is the most edgiest thing about this film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That is true. And like, yeah, definitely. Because one of his wishes were like, I'm going to wish that the race has two winners.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So it's like also him breaking that as well and taking what he wants.
But that's not, yeah, exactly. Like Pete's original vision was not revolutionary. Yeah. And two people can become billionaires. Like, no, like we want no billionaires. Destroy the whole system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I heard, I think in the video that you sent me, that the ending of the original book is that Ray actually wins the race and he just sort of like walks off into a darkness. Like there's this giant dark monster and he walks into it. Sort of like an embrace of fascism, which is very, very dark. But I actually like this ending. And I think it continues a theme that we're seeing in American cinema where at the end, we just want to kill each other, man. We just want to kill we want to kill the top guys, just like at the ending of Him. We just kill them, man, at the end. That's the resolution.
From what I heard, people interpret the book's ending differently, but just like this general walking towards the darkness thing, which here we can see. Some people said it represents hope because now the major is dead and he keeps on walking.
Right, but I definitely feel like the ending here is a dream. I'm not even sure Major is really dead. It could all be a fantasy in Pete's mind because it's hard for me to imagine he held the gun up to Major that long and didn't die, and then just got one shot and everybody disappears too. Like this makes it feel very dreamy.
Yeah.
Because we just saw behind Pete there were tanks and soldiers, but now they're all gone. What does that mean?
I mean, I guess that's the mysterious part for the ending. Like, we're not supposed to know what actually happened. But at least maybe like this just represents that revolutionary idea is living on, even if Pete is shot there and then.
Yeah. But overall, I enjoy this film. It's not fun to watch the second time. You know, it's good for that first good watch and maybe to watch a few reviews and people's takes on it. It's hard to revisit it because it's not as dense as it could have been. And that's because they didn't layer it with more of the universe outside of the long walk or give the characters more insight into what life is like before the long walk. You know what I'm saying? But it is definitely, you know, a good anti-fascist, anti-capitalist, nationalistic film. So I give it a solid 7.5. It's not a very good movie, but it's a above average movie. Like, you know, it's good.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, in any case, with a dystopian movie, there's going to be things to discuss and talk about and to like metaphorize, symbolize. Yeah. So this movie has those, but I agree with you in the sense that it could have been deeper. Like the characters could have had, I don't know, deeper conversations, outside world, out of the walk could have been explored more. Yeah. Like you said.
What do you think about if they had let women into the long walk? I know it's specifically a film about boys, becoming men and what we put men through to prove their masculinity. But what
Yeah.
how different do you think if this film would have had like girl characters in it?
I think it kind of would have been the same,
Yeah.
honestly. But yeah, I mean, in this type of regime, it's hard to imagine not being it's sexist.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, probably, I mean, woman would be like the handmaiden's tale
Mm-hmm.
in this case, and the men are being forced to do the long walk. So it's like this
Yeah.
fucked up society for everyone, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Just something to think about. But
Yeah.
overall, what's your score?
I'm gonna give it a 7.
A 7?
Yes.
Yeah. Any reason why,
I mean, like I just said, it could have been explored more. Overall, like the shot and the cinematography was good, I guess.
Acting was great.
Acting was great. Yeah, like because I think this walk could be metaphor for like 1,000 things.
Yeah.
And maybe they could have honed in on one or just really go in for all of them.
Exactly.
So yeah.
All right. Well, this has been episode 140 of Simon Acting Movie Reviews. If you have a film that you think we should get to, put it in the comments section. Appreciate everybody who's been watching all the back catalog, and catch you next time. Go take a long walk. Don't let this film make you think walking is bad. It's healthy for you, okay?
What if they played Let's Take a Long
Walk around the world right after dark
in the ending?
Swinging sack, walking to the black, and all your friends dead on the road, but you the goat.
They should have played that.
Oh man. So anyway, y'all be easy out there, and peace.